Hey, what's up? It's me, LA, pronounced like LA like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy. This is like take 5. I am 2 hours behind. This video should have been up. been up. But here I am, and now I am hungry. I had a breakfast sausage sandwich, homemade. I made for my family and I. Our son asked for that for breakfast, and I'm like, that's a darn good idea. So I made that, and I'm glad I ate it, but I'm hungry again. It is 10:43, and I'll be talking about a video response from Funky Dineva about the video. What is it? Tiny was never Shekinah's friend. Do you know who your friends are? What about your friends? That's about all I like about that song. And my favorite part in the song is Chili. When she goes, that's the best part in the whole song. But I'm getting off topic. If it wasn't for her, the song would be, according to me. I'm about to roll right into this, and perhaps while the intro is playing, you might hear some things opening up in the background. That's me opening up some crackers. You know, I got to eat to live. You know, I had a show to put on. ELAY TV Productions, ELAY TV Productions. My husband and I have started our family business. All right, here. Dooba 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 shooba doo boo doo boo. Oh man, y'all still can see me. This is so hooked up. Alright, I'm gonna talk through the introduction. Classic LA. I'm trying to find the button to make me go away so I can eat while this is coming on. Dang, I'm having the brain fart. I mean, my brain is crashing gas right now. Oh, Jesus help me. This is live and I can't turn back. Can I pause this? And I'm coughing. Come on, Jesus. I'm trying to be professional. I'm falling out, man. I just can't get it together. Y'all can still hear me probably. Let me put the music bed on. Help me, Jesus. Push play. And I need to turn it up. Turn my music up. Turn me up in the microphone. Well, she don't say it like that, but that's, you know, Sarah Jakes Roberts or Robertson, TD Jake's daughter. And she get hype on when she preaching and stuff. She be like, turn me up in the microphone. Like, yo, turn my music bed up. Turn me up in the music bed though. I didn't even get my crackers open. Oh. I had this rehearsed. I had this practice. This is a video response about Shekinah and T.I. and Tiny them. But the video response is about all these 3 people that I just named via the platform of Funky Dineva, responding to Shekinah having a no good, very bad day, Alexander, even in Australia, but don't. In regards to T.I. and Tiny them, I'm gonna turn this music bed down a little low because on my end it's a little too high, and I pray that y'all still can hear it. So I have notes. This is live. Can't turn back the hands of time. All my life I had to improvise. My whole life just been impromptu. It was like Jesus accidentally forgot to write my script. He knew what day, time, and hour I was gonna be born, but he sure forgot the script. So I'm out here flying on the wing and the prayer. Thank you, Jesus. About 16 minutes, 15 seconds into this video. This is gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long day, y'all, but I'm very entertaining. So 16 minutes 15 seconds into the video, provided by Funky Dineva. Dang, I still didn't point the right way. Ah! He talks about something right here, and it quotes, "Soon as the grease gets hot." You know how he talks. "Soon, girl, as soon as the grease gets hot." As soon as she kind of slipped up and said one thing too many that implicated T.I. and Tiny in that mess, what happened? She disposed her because she was disposable. Now, what I'm saying is, what he's saying is that Shekinah, S-H-E-K-I-N, dang, S-H-E-K-I-N-A-H. Sidebar, you know, with church, come on, church people. You may not be in the church anymore, but you was dragged to church like Drag Me to Hell movie. So I'm quite sure you heard of the Shekinah glory in church, whatever the H that is. I know I didn't want it when the pastor was talking about, "Here comes the Shekinah glory and the latter rain." I'm like, I don't want that neither. I don't want a ladder hitting me on my head. Okay, but anyways, Shekinah glory. Shekinah made friends with T.I.'s wife named Tiny, okay? And what I've been gathering is the fact that Shekinah know how to do some hair. And from the pictures that I've seen, which are one in the few, her nails are done too. So in my mind, if she could do hair, she probably can do her own nails. But we're going to focus on the fact that Shekinah has hair laying skills, ergo, which is why Tiny befriended her, to my knowledge, because perhaps she met her along the way, passing through in the field, doing some hair, kind of like, "Girl, you know somebody who can do my hair?" Because my original hairstylist didn't, she canceled. "Well, I know a girl named Shekinah. Well, send her over my way, have her do my hair." And then one thing led to another. Tiny probably just established some type of business type, a friendship, unbeknownst to Shekinah that it was a business tit for tat type of friendship. Shekinah was doing T.I.'s wife's hair. Cool, I mean, that's a good thing, because when you coming up in the world, I ain't got nobody to lean on. You need somebody who's a somebody to lean on. So yeah, I get it. You know, "Oh yes, the master, wash your hands. Oh yes, the master, wash your feet." I mean, we can only do that for so long, but sometimes you gotta, "Yes, the master, yes sir, yes the master, yes sir," just to get where you need to be. But when you, "Yes, the master, yes sir," you gotta put that on a time clock and do what you gotta do to make it do what it gotta do, so you can get out in a timely manner, and there will be no bad feelings, and no bridges will be burned, no feelings will be scorned, no people will be hurt, no scandals will be uplifted. But since it didn't happen that way, all those things I just listed above in a negative way have transpired on these YouTube streets since last year. With Shekinah, T.I., and Tiny, and probably a whole nother range of things. Well, because Shekinah didn't do what she was supposed to do, which is unfortunately stay in your lane. But if it's not specifically written out on a scroll of tarsh paper, stamped, signed, sealed, and delivered in agreement on contractual documentation, there will be a possibility that lines gonna be blurred lines. Blurred lines. What's up, Robin Thicke? Speaking of Robin Thicke, he done got thick like fat. Oh, bada boo. He lived up to his name. Time to rename you Robin Thin. You know we got the C-19 out here. You don't want to be large and in charge with that running around. Less is more in this time and season that we're in. It's a cold, dark winter that we're in. Oh. Yeah, so that's what's really happening. That's what's going down. But it's really sad because, you know, we all want friends. We all want to come up. And we don't necessarily Well, speaking of me, I don't want to come up on the back of nobody else. I don't want to come up on the back of anybody else. But I know in this world we have to help one another. So I say all this to say, I know I need help with certain things. I'm not afraid to admit it, and I'm not ashamed to go get it. But that's the difference. The moral of this story that Funky Dineva broke down real good in about a 24-minute stint is what he's saying is you have to know your place, you have to know your value, you have to know your worth, you have to know, as what y'all event says, you have to know who you are. Because if you don't know who you are, everybody else will define who you is, and you just follow suit. So all of these things that I'm saying and all of these things that Funky Dineva's been saying is true. There weren't any contracts drawn up. That the contract thing is what I'm saying. There weren't in regards to this video. He could have said it in other videos, but this is the video that I caught that caught my attention. So there weren't any contracts drawn up. It was built on friendship and assumption. Lots of assumption based on, from what I'm gathering, T.I. and Tiny, they graced her with vacations, XYZ. It's a lovely opportunity. In my mind, if I had an opportunity like that, I would view it as an internship. And the internship can launch you to where you need to go. You have to use this internship, per se, as your 15 minutes of fame and maximize it and stay in your place and know your place and treat people as equals, meaning a respectability boundary there. Hang on, this is my husband. I'm going to see what he's saying while the music plays, and I don't even have I was supposed to have some music up in here, so what I'll do is see if I can hold on, let me just read the text message and see. I might not need to put up a music video. It's my husband. Let me just respond. Hang on. Listen to the music bit. I'll turn up the music bit. Okay, message sent. Yay! My husband's so cool. Hope you guys can hear the music still. So back to what I was talking about is that's how the cookie crumbles. But it should have been looked at as an internship, but sometimes even people fall short, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with falling short of the glory in regards to God. Oh! It can mean falling short of glory. It can just simply mean this situation. It could have started out well. Things, Shekinah, from my point of view, could have gotten really comfortable because T.I. and Tiny let her in, or she just so happened to see things. I mean, that's what's going to happen when you're around people so long. You're going to eventually start seeing things in the cracks and crevices, whether or not they want you to see it or not. It's going to happen as long as you live. So I'm thinking that's what happened, and there was a level of comfort, and she got involved in some things, some extracurricular activities that could have been good, yay or nay, who knows, based upon how she felt morally speaking. All I can say is all I know is that one thing led to another, and I'm quite sure she found out some things about the not so softer side of Sears in regards to the T.I. and Tiny family. That happens, but the thing is, did she tell the world about those things that she saw when she should not have? Did Miss Shekinah let her stay turn into and run over into an extended stay, and she didn't renew her residency per se after she saw it was extending too long? And I think that's another place where that where it went wrong at. So time wears on. If you're staying at an extended stay, there's going to come due a time based upon how much time you said you're going to be there They're gonna ask you, so are you staying longer? If so, can we renew your contract? You know, if you're not, you gotta get ready to make preparations to leave. Because if you're not making preparations to leave and you're still comfortable and you're not returning on your end of the bargain as effectively and as accurately and as nice a boss as you once would, we're T.I. and Tiny. They're gonna start ringing back the reins and start letting you know your place, because after all, you've come into our establishment. We welcomed you into our domain, and these are our rules. And until further notice and duly stated, duly noted, like they say on I was about to say Constantine, but they say duly noted so many times in that Keanu Reeves movie, Part 3, and it's not called Assassin's Creed. As much as I talk about that movie, I don't remember the name of it though. It's a Keanu Reeves movie. I need to look on my phone. They say duly noted all the time. So if I just type in Keanu Reeves movies, I can come up with the answer. Keanu Reeves movie. What is that movie, guys? Type it down in the comments because you'll probably figure it out before I can. John Wick. So in John Wick 3, there was the adjudicator. She was always saying the duly noted. So it seems like Miss Shekinah, according to what I've seen, just extended her stay, but she didn't cite. She overextended her extension and kind of got too comfortable and didn't recheck herself to know her place. And things led to another, and the relationship, whatever type of relationship that they had established between the three of them, whoever else, family and friends, started to dissolve and erode, and it spewed out into a lot of stuff that should not have happened in the first place, had one known their place. But this is from the outside looking in, and from the outside looking in, this is my conclusion. So Funky Dineva said that, you know, unfortunately Shekinah, she was disposable according to how Miss Tiny treated Shekinah in the end. Funky Dineva refers and relates to this real life story by sharing how at one point in his life he was just happy to be around certain types of people. Let me turn this down some more. So he was just saying, like, in his high school and college years, he was just happy to be around certain people. And we all know that feeling, at least growing up in the African American community. I'm just happy to be here. You know, I'm just happy to be in a lot of certain situations. But the thing that I'm tired of saying, why am I saying the thing is all the time? It just happens. I used to say all the time. But the thing is, I said it again, just being happy to be in a situation is one thing, but how long are you going to just let people use you for what you have, because they all know you're just happy to be somewhere, before you set a tone and say, thank you for this experience, I would like to continue working with you guys. Is there a way we can work on an agreement far as monetarily? If not, I'm going to have to pull back and go into the same field but in another direction where my efforts and gratuity can be paid with gratuity, you know. There's so many ways that this can be worked, because you can stay with those people. Let's just say T.I. and Tiny situation with Shekinah. Let's just say she could have went about it this way. Knowing what the situation is, it seemed like a bartering relationship. Hey, you can do this for me, I can do this for you. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon. Even Pokemon know the bartering situation, this or that. One hand washes the other, so no one's being held high and dry. And she could have kept her other job and just treated it that way. I think things would have worked better, but I really honestly believe that lines got blurred. You guys, As usual, I'm having fun. I'm eating a cracker. And I don't want you to see me chewing. So, oh, I have water. I spilled my water earlier today. I had a glass of water. In previous videos, you can see me drinking out of a pretty glass of water. But I actually spilled it for the first time in my life. So I had to put my water in this tumbler. I like how the sparkly glass looked though. Nah, this black tumbler. It looked all concealed and conspicuous. Like I'm hiding something in this like alcoholic beverage. So Funky Dineva refers and relate to his real life situations when he was in high school, college, early 20s, where he was just happy to be somewhere, which is a nice thing. But he noticed that even though he hung with the rich kids, the cool kids, the kids who dressed well, he still wasn't getting treated fairly. And little did they know, he still had the same amount of money, if not more, he said, than they did. So he was able to keep up with the Joneses, roll with the Joneses. But he still found out that he wasn't being included into the parties or the social gatherings, or let's just say, for example, going to the movies or hanging out on vacations. He still wasn't included with the people that he hung around with and just so happy to be with. And that didn't add up. And to me, that didn't add up neither. So it was something about him that they low-key didn't like, but they just still kept him around. The reason is, why did they just keep him around if he was still on their level financially? Was it a race thing? Was it because of his gender? You know, how he, identifies himself as? Was it because his skin complexion? Was it because he was open-minded and just simply free-spirited, rather or not of his preference of who he likes? It's a lot of things that could have played into this, but all he knew is when he looked back that they weren't treating him right. So, yeah, that's that page. Wow, we just blew right through that. Yay, I'm going to turn the page over. Turning the page over. Y'all, I'm having so much fun, and I don't feel nervous or insecure that I have all these awkward moments and pauses and all that stuff, because somebody's watching our channel. Someone subscribed to our channel. He spoke of another scenario to which I like, from a TV reality show called Married to Medicine. I've heard of it. I've seen him join a woman from that show, and they talk together, like, because he knows her, so they talk online to one another, from a woman from the Married to Medicine show. But he was saying in one of the particular situations, there was a married couple named Quad and Maria. And the scenario kind of went on the line of them being married, but when they started the marriage, apparently there were some underlying agreements to why they agreed to marry one another. Example being that the husband's and wife's roles were reversed. So let's just say he was a stay-at-home dad, for lack of a better description, and she was the woman who went out and got the bread. Fine, if they were cool with that, that's good. But when they got on the show, from what I'm gathering, i.e. I haven't really watched it, I'm just going on what I would hear Funky Dineva say in his reviews. But when the couple got on the show, things began to change, because naturally, since her husband is in the limelight, he's going to get noticed. So he started to get noticed. So that kind of changed the dynamic, which Dineva said. It changed the dynamic of the roles from which they first enlisted themselves as. Husband being chill, staying home, and the wife went out and did the work. So it kind of shook things up a bit. I don't know if it shook it up for the bad or for the worse, or if they found a happy medium to deal with this new change. But nonetheless, it did change the dynamic from which they started. But if you're going on TV or in social media, the parties have to realize that there are going to be changes and nothing is going to be the same far as people noticing you more. There is another situation where Funky Dineva referred to another reality TV show. I need a highlighter so I can stay on track. I didn't catch the name of what the show was referenced to, but the people in there, Portia and where did I put it? The lady's name is Portia. Jeez. Portia and Cordell. I think Portia has something to do with Celebrity Housewives or something like that. See, I prefer listening to the reviews of the Atlanta Housewives and, you know, the Celebrity Housewife reality TV shows. I prefer and enjoy listening to the commentary about each episode opposed to actually sitting and watching the actual TV show, because it's more enjoyable and more entertaining and it's more fun, and it gives me just enough so I don't get deeply submerged and oversaturated in the drama. So I like to listen to these types of shows reviews from All About the Tea. They do great commentary and, you know, play-by-play reviews about these types of shows, and Funky Dineva. And then the third platform I listen to, gosh, I don't have the name, but let me look on my cell phone because I want to give credit, because I simply listened to the show, the Allegedly show. I think Alexander Rogers, the allegedly, that's what it is, the Alexander Rogers show, All About the Tea. And she's got her lovely teacups. How are you today? It's like, hey girl, I'm doing great. You have a wonderful voice. I like, get back on so we can hear you talk. She's like, how are you all doing today? I'm so happy that everyone's here. It's raining outside and thunderstorming. And it don't even sound scary what she said. You know, come back to us. Where are you at? And then I listened to Funky Dineva. So with all of those three commentaries combined, are you with all three of those commentators combined, I have the ultimate reference point on all of these celebrity gossip TV shows. Yay! So the second reference point Funky Dineva talked about, which I'm assuming is one of those reality housewife shows, correct me if I'm wrong, with Portia and Cordell. And he talked about how when they first got married, he married Miss Portia under the thought processes, and I quote, that his wife was a subservient dodo bird, a subservient dodo brain that would do any and everything he said. And then the minute Miss Portia got a little bit of independence based off of, you know, finding herself, fixing her life off of this show, he didn't like it. And so therefore the dynamic of their wedding partnership, or whatever they called it, I said whatever they called it, started to become unhinged and unraveled because of how the marriage started, with those types of things in mind. Page 2, 1, 2. I will further explain the differences, the dynamics about a healthy and unhealthy relationship, so we can lay it out and you guys can understand what I'm saying. So what I'm saying and what Funky Dineva is explaining is, yes, in relationships and marriages, things change, life happens, people grow. The thing is, when you're getting involved in a relationship, and we'll say a relationship just to keep it cut and dry, in a relationship, you have to be vigilant and seeing what the other person is wanting you to be in their world for. A good example of this, coming back to my world, Trevor Campbell, come back to my world, hey babe, come back to my baby, back to my world. Trevor Campbell, where you at? Come back to our world. Help save this music crisis we're in. As I was saying, wait. As I was saying, man, I look different from this angle. Y'all, that be scaring me, because when I look on one side, I look like somebody, and when I look on this side, I look like somebody, and then when I look forward, I look like somebody else. Make me wonder if, what do you call that pregnancy when the woman mess around with two men at the same time and the baby come out crazy? It's a long name that I learned from American Horror Story season 1. Squatches, subconstitutional. And the baby come out twins. Well, I'm not a twin. That I know of. I'm still learning about my biological family. I really like to make fun of that. But, shoot. Maybe it's two souls in one. Cute spooky music. Oh my goodness. Well, I look completely different. And that scared me because I don't like it. So, for example, a good balance of a relationship is a woman who's willingly and choosingly and naturally wants to be a stay-at-home wife slash mom slash homemaker, and her husband likes that about her, and it works because he wants a woman who wants those things. He doesn't want to find and be attracted to a woman who doesn't want those things, because it's not going to work. It's more easier to find someone who you're compatible with when it comes to, here go. That's what Funky Dineva say. Here it goes. When it comes to the important things, the key things, it's best to find someone in your lane who are compatible with when it comes to the important things, such as if she wants to have children, if he wants children, it's things like that. Now, those are the important things you want to find compatibility in, so you guys can work together as a partnership as one. You want to know if when he's down, she's got your back, and vice versa. The bad thing is in a relationship that Shekinah, T.I., and Tiny had, it could have started off great, and it seemed like it did, but it started getting rough down the road and rocky. And this is where Dineva pinpointed and targeted to the fact of when this cue cold case music, dun dun, or whatever case music that played, that the detective music, dun dun. When this situation happened, it was already alleged in Tiny's mind that she was gonna make her flunky, dun dun. But little did she know, Shekinah glory, that Miss Tiny was on that level. Dun dun. So, naturally as so, a regular old person who's not a celebrity, dun dun, will gladly be happy to help someone like her. Dun dun. Funky Dineva emphasized the fact that from what he can see is that T.I.'s wife just needed somebody to be there, kind of like he said flunky, and it sounded like a cuss word, so in my heart I can feel what that means, but if it's time to reach out and explain it to somebody, I need to be sure, because it still sounds like a cuss word. Flunky, F-L-U-N-K-Y is what he described. Unfortunately, how T.I. treated T.I. and his wife, and who knows what else, treated Miss Shekinah like a flunky. And on here it says a lackey, steward, butler, footman, valet, retainer, attendant, factotum, houseboy, page. But it says derogatory and it's a noun. So it's like the word flunky sounds harsher. You know, it's kind of right up there with house N-word in a way. Because there's a difference. I was a page. I was a librarian page. I mean, I worked at the GD library for 7 years. And what I did was help the people at the circulation desk, check folks in, check folks out, and put books on the shelf. My job was just that. But I don't think I would have accepted the job if the description was as clean as the job is or would be some library flunky. I'm like, what the F? I wouldn't have taken the job. So that's how I feel. That's what I'm feeling. He used a strong word as such. And so it goes to paint another picture on how they perceived her. More or less like a peasant. Slave, go get me my nachos. Yes, master. Slave, cut my bunions. Yes, master. Because Dineva said that they were talking to her like she was a piece of but I'm quite sure it didn't start out that way. So for it to unwind and unravel into a ball of confusion. Who made that song? Ball of confusion. It was called Hellfire. Well, they weren't called Hellfire. They were named after some seasons or the elements though. Four stones, temptations. Was it the Temptations? Ball of Confusion by Temptations. I don't think it was them. Doggone it. If I could send in a CashApp so I could get some help for my memory to be faster, I sure appreciate it. Who made Ball of Confusion? I'm talking to my phone. Who made Ball of Confusion song? The Temptations? They did make Ball of Confusion. Isn't a group out there named after the elements, or did the Temptations have an album about the oh my gosh, Earth, Wind, and Fire? Wasn't Earth, Wind, and Fire a group also? So I thought Earth, Wind, and Fire made Ball of Confusion. Oh, the future. I'm in the future. So, back to what we were talking about. These two ladies. And how a good thing went bad. Based on, from what I can see, strong assumptions. And one not knowing her place. And the volcanic reaction of seeing that, you know, you're not gonna get any higher than this. So, like Cedric the Entertainer said in Barbershop, what you gonna do about it? So those are the differences between a bad relationship and a good relationship when you set things up. Compatibility is one thing, helping one another is another thing, because we all need one another, definitely. But it's how we go into these relationships with our mindset. We have to check each other's motive, because some people only want to use and abuse you, and so they'll start out nicely, because how else are they going to get you in? But Funky Dineva goes in closing with these things that you can detect to make sure you don't go astray. And I'll quote what he wrote. In 2022, he sits on a stool. I need a stool because my husband helped me set up our office now and stuff. I need a stool. I'll have to have him get me one. I want a brown one or a white one, because the simple reason is I want to paint it and design it my own way, but I need it to be white. But if it's brown, I could just easily paint it white and make it pretty for her. But now I need a stool. So cause I'm still standing. Yeah. I'm still standing on my 2 feet, sis. This is what he says in 2022. What we not gonna do is be fools for friends. Hence the title. Thanks. Fools for Friends 2022. What we not gonna do. Long pause, deep sigh, and he leans a little to the left, to the right in his stool, adjusts himself, and continues on. He continues on saying that every time something terribly bad went wrong in his life, he already knew deep down that something wasn't right, but he did it anyways. And regarding friends, he would take a deep look at himself and said to himself he already knew the end, the outcome before it begun. I'm paraphrasing. So at the end, after a relationship would end terribly or badly, he would always take a look at himself, take a deep sigh, and then instantly started beating up himself and going down in this downward spiral, perhaps into a sunken place, where he would get mad because he knew, deep down he knew. And he ended up in a whole effing world of confusion based on things he were already pre-warned about in his inner spirit. So he's warning us to stop doing stuff like that, because if you know what the deal is, you'll know how much time you have with this situation, or more how to work it, know how to transcend and move with the people you're working with in your temporary friendship or partnership or whatever, or business deal, because business is business at the end. So getting the difference between friends and business people you work with, you gotta just know that this is business. So once you know how far you can go with somebody, you can see how it ends. You'll know for yourself how to hold them, how to fold them, or how to transition into an extension with those people that you are affiliated with at that time, so you can renew your contracts more and you can be reminded of your place in a nice, peaceful, private way if they may see you getting out of line. Progress report. Every job has a progress report. It may not be to the point where they need to just pull you to the side immediately and denounce your throne or tell you, hey, this and that, but it's something they will surely bring up at the progress report. Everybody has a day or a time when they had to have a meeting to see where he or she is going, or they can improve on. And it's just that's naturally how it happens in any type of relationship. I think next time, Miss Shekinah, when you get an opportunity, I'm going to be positive about this. I don't want to say if you're not, but please, when you get another opportunity to work with a celebrity, know how to hold them, know when to fold them. Know you're going to make mistakes, but don't have these kinds of mistakes that will turn into a smear campaign and you burn more bridges, because there may not be a next time after this. When you get into another opportunity to help someone in the celebrity realm, yes, be grateful. Know your place. Be respectful. Don't do anything for the sake of potentially gaining friends or more access to these people without knowing the consequences if it goes against your moral fiber. If you're still going to do these things, mic check, know the consequences. And when the time comes to pay the dues, you can't get mad. And everybody still wins because they can see you know how to hold yourself to the fire, and they can still work with you. That's all it's about in anything, even at McDonald's. You know, you have to You have to make it do what it do, B. You gonna mess up, but just don't make these mess ups be colossal is what I'm saying. Allow yourself to make blunders, because if you don't, life, you might as well be in prison, having the people in prison control you, because that's how you're acting, and you're not behind bars. So know that you're going to mess up, but just try not to make really huge blunders like what happened to her. It was a catastrophe. So I'm going to get back to what Funky Dineva was saying. I wrote it down. He listened to this wonderful example that I will end off saying. Word to the wise people, listen up. This is my marker, so when I cut the video, I know where to cut it at. Every time that friend says something that felt like shade, but you just suck it up because that's your friend, you knew. Every time that friend popped on social media, and you see that they were at the club, or that they're at someone else's places, you didn't get invited, you knew. Every time her dude or his girlfriend talked to you crazy, you knew. Every time they called you when the other friend wasn't around, but as soon as those friends came back around, you didn't get the phone calls no more, you knew. Every time they went to the hospital and sat with that friend, but when you was in the hospital and they didn't come to see you, you knew. Every time they went out of their way to get their kids a birthday gift or to get a present, but they didn't get you one, you knew. Every time they mentioned to you, oh, they needed something, and you just sprung up into action, but you vented to them about being stressed out, and they didn't spring into action for you, you knew. Every time you sat on the phone and they rattled off all their issues about what they're going through, but never once asked you about their day or life, or how you doing, or how your relationship is, you knew. So what you got to do in this situation is put your big boy panties on, put your big girl panties on, and be courageous enough to look into the mirror and ask yourself, what is it about me that is fundamentally flawed or broken at my core that keeps me in this relationship? So I end this wonderful, powerful video reaction response thing with that. Deep down you know. So quit doing it. It's me, LA, pronounced like LA like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy though. Have a lovely evening. Day.